What's going on, guys? Welcome back. Good to see you, glad you're here. Now, as Orktober has been going on, I've finished painting my first orc for the tabletop. So I've spent all day playing with my knob, painting up an orc knob. But before we get into that, just a quick channel update. I've been working tirelessly behind the scenes to improve a few things. So hopefully, in a couple of videos' time, that'll come to fruition, and that should be a good step, and it's a good move. It's a good change, hopefully coming soon. Now on with the video. So what I'm doing here is I'm just looking at what colour I want to do for this orc skin, because I've only ever painted up one orc before. I've said this prior. Now this was going to be a painting tutorial on how to paint your orcs, and then I realised that actually it's not even an idiot's guide. It's just an idiot painting an orc, and somehow it turned out alright. So in true rig style, I'm going to show you all the mistakes that I've made, so hopefully you don't make these mistakes as well, because as you can see, this Caliban green that I'm using, it's not going on great, and it's not going to stay there, don't worry. I do cover it over, hide away that little mistake, because I didn't like the colour in the end, so off it went. Get rid of it. So at this point, I hadn't really truly thought I was going to get rid of that Caliban green entirely. So this Death Guard green that I'm putting on as if I was going to leave the Caliban under there, and then eventually I just went, no, just fill it all in and start with this as the base layer for the orc skin. So my next step after that was to just dry brush over all that green with odd green camo, because it's a really nice, quite rich yellowy green which comes up quite light and really contrasts the colour below. So I'm just putting on one coat of a Vallejo green wash, which actually really helped the last two layers to blend in together nicely, and it really defined the muscles on this orc as well. Once the wash had dried, I did one last dry brush of that odd green camo over the top of it, and I really like the way that this skin looks now. So that's going to be my recipe for orc skin. So quite happy that I've stumbled into that one, and if you guys want to give it a go, feel free to. It's gonna, I feel it's good anyway. Now the thing that really I really struggled with was trying to work out what colour to paint his clothes, because I don't really know what orcs wear, and I decided I wasn't going to go into the internet and look to see what everyone else is painting them as, in the hopes that, you know, I'll have a slightly uniquely painted orc knob. And I just went with the logical answers of, well, orcs think that red makes you go fast, so he's going to have some red trousers so that he can run really fast. So, the technique that I've used, I'm still loving the fact that I've painted him with red legs just so that he can run away from stuff. Anyway, right, the technique that I've used is the same technique that I used with the Krieg video. So again, rule of three, I've done a dark red where I've used Word Bearer red, and then I've done Mephiston red, and I've finished it off with the highlights of Wild Rider red. So I'm just using Mechanicus grey at the moment, and that's going to go two ways. So his vest is going to come in a dirty white, so I like to think he was wearing a white tank top at one point, and then I'm going to make his boots sort of a grey leather, just because I feel like orcs get done dirty a little bit, and they always get done with far too much browns and leathers on them, so I just want to mix it up a little bit. To get that sort of leathery effect on his grey boots, I've just put on Apothecary White contrast paint, because the way that it dries, I quite like the way that it goes down, it nulls it down a little bit. And then I'm going to bring it back up with Mechanicum Standard Grey. So because I was still deciding in my head what colours I wanted to do the rest of him, I'm just going to do some detail work on him now. So that's going in and doing the scar on his arm, because I thought, well, I can do that. So I've gone with quite a reddish, reddy toned skin colour, so that it looks a little bit sore, bit raw. And as I went along with it, I added more and more red into that paint, just to the closer I got to the centre of the scar, so that the more sore it would look and the more red it would look. Okay then, well, the decision has been made. If his legs are quick, his jacket will be lucky. It's his favourite jacket. He wears it more than all the rest. So it's going to be blue. So I'm going to start with a base of Cantor blue. I'm going to get it all on there. Then I mixed it with some Thousand Sun blue. And that gave me a good mid-tone. And then it was also my highlight colour eventually, which was the Thousand Sun blue. So my next step now is going to be to paint all the metals, and that's going to be, his power claw, his weapon, the little buckles, his belt buckle, grenades, the metal bits. The paint that I'm going to use for this is Vallejo's Metal Colour Gunmetal, but I've mixed it with some Nuln oil just to darken it down for the sake of, he's an orc, he's not exactly cleaning his rifle every day, so, if someone can show me a picture of an orc with a tin of Brasso anywhere, then he'll get a nice shiny rifle instead of a dulled down metal colour. So now, just to break up all that silver that's on there, I've grabbed out my brass scorpion, or scorpion brass of scorpions, and I'm just going to choose a few metal items to pick out with another colour, just to make them really stand out against the sea of silver on this model. So the next step after that is a little bit cheeky, but I'm going to grab my contrast yellow paint and the bullets in his magazine. I'm going to get a quick gloss of that, so that when I go over them with gold, I don't need to go right up to the edges, as the contrast paint's done it for me. So there's a sneaky little trick for quickly, easily and controllably painting bullets in a magazine in a tight space. Now that we're getting towards what could quite easily be called the final product, I'm just going through doing he's got two cables on him, one that goes to his power claw and one that goes to his little comms unit there. So I'm doing one purple and I'm doing one green, just so that it's not all the same, mixing it up a bit. So now I've gone around picking out details such as the lens on his scope and the little screen on his backpack for his comms unit. I've done the lens in the exact same colours that I said earlier, with the starting at word bearer red, and the screen at the back I've done it in the same colours that I did the coats on my Kriegers. So if you want to know that colour mix, go back to that video and have a look. As to what I'm doing now, I'm just doing an Agrax Earthwatch on all the metal parts and his backpack, his boots, and the metal parts on his boots, just because it's an orc, again, hasn't got the cleanest of kit, and it's just bringing them down into that setting a little bit and adding those final sort of weathering touches before we can call this complete. So once all the washes have dried, you just want to go over it with the lightest of dry brushes possible, just to look like where all the metal parts have been catching and they're just slowly polishing themselves up because they're getting caught on things or they're slicing through things. Just to, again, give that little bit of finishing touches to the weathering, bring it back to life a bit. So at this point now, I'm just doing the cherry on top before I can call this complete. So I'm going through, I'm just doing some rust effects with some pigments, and then I'm going to get my rust wash out and swiftly throw it all over my hands because the lid broke. I'd expect that from a Citadel paint. Not Vallejo, why? Oh, I'd had so much faith and trust in you. So, anyway, so once you've completed that, I personally would call the model completed. I did do a few extra steps afterwards with the basing. As you can see here, I added some more mud to his trousers and the bottom of his jacket in the same stippling effect that I did in my Kriegers. Again, go back, watch that video. But he's done, and I love him. And I've had so much fun painting this model. I've really enjoyed it. I can't explain it. It's been very refreshing because I'm an Imperial Guard player. I'm an Imperial player. I paint Space Marines and Guardsmen. And painting this Ork, it's been really fun and a fantastic change of pace for me. So anyway guys, that's the video. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've learnt something. And I really do hope to see you in the next one.